Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is DANISHA binti AZAM. My matric number is 202444C902.
The Malaysian Accounting Standard Board (MASB) define an operating segment as a component of entity that engage in business activity from which it may earn revenue and incur expenses, has operating result reviewed regularly by the entity chief operating decision maker (CODM) to make decision about resources and assess performance, has discrete financial information available. An entity shall report separately information about each reporting segment that has been identified in accordance with MFRS 8 or result from aggregating two or more to segment in accordance with education criteria and exceed the quantitative threshold in quantitative threshold. There are two information about operating segment should be reported. The first one is aggregation criteria. Aggregation criteria are the rules that allow a company to combine two or more operating segments into one reportable segment in the following aspect of the nature of product and services, production process, type of customer, distribution method, and economic characteristic based on risk and return. The second one is quantitative threshold. Not all operating segments are disclosed, only the significant material one. A segment becomes a reportable segment if it meets any one of these. First one, the segment revenue must be greater than 10% of total revenue of all segments, includes both external and internal revenue. Second one, segment profit or loss must be greater than 10%. Third one is segment asset must be greater than 10% of total asset of all segments. After applying the 10% test, segment must be at least 75% of the company total revenue. CODM is the individual or group responsible for allocating resources and assessing the performance of entity operating segments. Operating segments are identified based on what the CODM review. CODM can be COO, Board of Directors, and Executive Committee. In Celcom DG Berhad, the CODM is identified as the Celcom DG Management Team (CDMT), led by the Chief Executive Officer Alvin Mudi. In carrying out its role, the CDMT evaluates various internal business activity. For example, the postpaid segment should grow in both revenue and subscriber, which lead management to focus on expanding higher value plan like Celcom DG1. Similarly, the home and fiber segment experienced significant revenue growth, prompting continued investment in network modernization and digital platforms such as the Celcom DGI. This example demonstrates how the CODM use performance data to make informed decisions about investment and strategic direction. For CIMB Group Holding Berhad, the CODM is the Group Management Committee (GMC), which is led by the Group CEO Novan Anwardin. This reflects a collective decision-making structure where senior management jointly review financial results and determine strategic priorities. The GMC closely monitor the performance of CIMB various reportable segments such as consumer banking. In this segment, the committee review key financial indicators like net interest income and return on equity to evaluate profitability and efficiency. Based on this assessment, the GMC make strategic decisions such as investing in digital banking platform like the CIMB Octo app to enhance customer experience and drive growth. Similarly, the GMC evaluate the commercial and wholesale banking by examining the operating income and loan growth. This indicator help the CODM assess how well the segment is performing in terms of generating revenue and expanding its lending activity. Based on this analysis, the GMC may decide to invest in technology and infrastructure, such as funding digital integration and financial platforms.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is RUSYNIDA binti MURZUKI from JAC2204C and my student ID is 2024643824. I will be presenting the next question about identifying the two types of segmental reports used in financial reporting. Firstly, we have discovered that the CIMB Berhad annual report consists of two types of segmental reporting, which are separation of segment by product and services and segment by geographical area. For its services, CIMB business is split into three main segments, basically the different parts of the bank that serve different types of customers and make money in different ways. The first segment is consumer banking, the next is commercial banking, the third segment is wholesale banking, and last but not least is CIMB digital assets and group fund. By separating the revenue by country, you can see that how each countries are performing. For example, there is a growth in revenue from its businesses conducted in Malaysia, Singapore, and other countries such as Cambodia. In contrast, there is a drop in revenue for Indonesia and Thailand due to macroeconomic uncertainties and domestic political issues that undermine market confidence and limited Indonesia's success. Next are the two benefits associated with segmental report. First benefit is improved transparency. It is mostly useful for investors and other shareholders, in which segment reports provide a clearer picture of the company's overall performance. Without segment reporting, all of this would just look like one overall profit number, and we would not know which service is doing well or struggling. The next benefit is it helps management make better strategic decisions. For example, we can understand from the report that wholesale banking is performing strongly, so it may be an area to maintain focus on treasury and market strengths. Instead of guessing, management can clearly see and know which segment that needs to grow, which segments need cost control or risk tightening, or which country needs attention or has the potential for profit. That is the end of my video. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAZWANI binti WALID and my student number is 2024297524. MFRS 134 is the Malaysia Financial Reporting Standards for Interim Financial Reporting. The objective is to prescribe what should be included in the interim financial report and how its data should be recognized and measured, whether the report is a full set or condensed version. Good interim financial report helps stakeholders to understand entity capacity to generate profit and cash. For optive scope, this standard does not mandate which entity should be required to publish their interim financial reports. However, the MASP encourage publicly traded entities to provide interim financial report that confirm the recognition, measurement, and disclosure principles set out in this standard. Specific to the publicly traded entities are encouraged to provide interim financial report at least as of the end of the first half of their financial year and to make their interim financial reports available not later than 60 days after the end of their interim period. The first significant events and transaction affects CIMB financial positions and performance is the Forward 30 Strategy and Capital Return Program, in which it involving the transaction of CIMB returning up to 2 billion excess capital to their shareholder through special dividend and share buyback. Therefore, the impact on their financial position is their Common Equity Tier 1 ratio stood at 14.3% by the end of 2025, which represents strategic reduction compared to previous levels because the bank shifted from capital accumulation to active relocation and distribution. For the financial performance, it resulted in 47.1 sen per share of total dividend payout and return on equity improved to 11.3%. While the second event is the Panda bond issuance, in which CIMB issued 3-year Panda bond in China interbank bond market that valued at RMB 3.0 billion. The impact it has on their financial position is increase bank diversified liabilities and enhance its liquidity profile. And to their financial performance, it focused on optimized cost of funds as the Panda bond supported the bank cash strategy under Forward 30.
My name is IWANI binti JOHARI. My matrix number is 2025195613. For the interim statement of financial position of Celcom Digi Berhad, we compare the financial position as at 31st December 2025 with 31st December 2024. The total asset increased from 36.01 billion ringgit to 36.46 billion ringgit. This increase suggests that the company is actively expanding its asset base. Total equity and liabilities increase correspondingly, which indicates that the asset growth is financed through a combination of retained earning and external financing. For the interim statement of profit or loss, we analyze both the current quarter and cumulative year-to-date performance. For the quarter ended 31st December 2025, revenue increased from 3.28 billion ringgit to 3.45 billion ringgit. For the 9-month cumulative period, revenue increased from 12.68 billion ringgit to 12.96 billion ringgit. And now, we will move to the interim statement of other comprehensive income. We compare the current quarter and cumulative year-to-date performance with the preceding period. For the quarter ended 31st December 2025, net profit increased significantly from 162.52 million ringgit to 353.12 million ringgit. This sharp increase indicates stronger profitability during the current quarter, while for the 9-month cumulative period, net profit also increased from 1.39 billion ringgit to 1.53 billion ringgit. This consistent improvement suggests that the company has maintained stable earnings growth throughout the year. Next, for the interim statement of changes in equity, total equity decreased from 60.90 billion ringgit in 2024 to 50.98 billion ringgit in 2025. This reduction may be due to dividend distributions to shareholders, share buybacks, or adjustment arising from retained earnings and other reasons. For the interim statement of cash flow of Celcom Digi Berhad, we compare the cash and cash equivalents as at 31st December 2025 and 21st December 2024. The cash balance increased significantly from 290.37 million ringgit in 2024 to 773.88 million ringgit in 2025. This substantial increase indicates a stronger liquidity position, suggesting that the company has more cash available to meet its short-term obligations. So, this is our references that we got from Bursa Malaysia. Thank you for watching.